In the 21st century, while a heavy snowstorm rages in Quebec, scientists from a company called Biotech M collect bags containing a new type of fertilizer. They spread this substance over a field, and in a short time, all the snow melts rapidly. The next morning, a young student named Andre is riding his bike home from school while listening to music on his phone. Because of his carelessness, he almost gets run over by the security guard Dan's car. Dan scolds him, but Andre ignores him and continues on his way. When he gets home, he is greeted by Camilla, the babysitter of his little sister Anna. Camilla tells him that he's always busy with his phone and doesn't pay attention to his sister. Andre doesn't care. He grabs a snack and goes up to his room. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the city, Dan calls his daughter Pat and asks if she wants to spend some time together. But Pat says she'll be home late because she's at work. So Dan decides to spend the night alone and practices survival skills in the garage, like making a fire and organizing his weapons. The next day, as Dan goes to work, his daughter Pat is with him. Pat says she has a new boyfriend, but Dan doesn't take the news well. Their conversation is brief. They arrive at Pat's workplace, which is a golf course frequented by the city's wealthy. After dropping his daughter off, Dan notices that, despite the storm, the snow on the course is melting unusually fast, and he becomes suspicious. Meanwhile, Andre is woken up by his mother. Despite coming home late at night, the woman has to go to work again. Since the babysitter still hasn't arrived, Andre has to take care of his little sibling and even changes their diaper himself. An elderly millionaire couple is playing a game on the golf course. The man sinks the ball into the hole, but a mysterious chemical reaction begins underground. This substance poisons the soil and water, spreading into the environment. Soon after, the first person to drink this water is an actor. He gets sick from the water he drank backstage, but thinks it's just an ordinary headache. After going to the market and shopping, he returns home. At home, when the man looks in the mirror, he notices that his teeth have turned green. Even when he tries to wipe his mouth, it doesn't work. His skin fades and his eyes turn dark green. Suddenly, he loses control and attacks his wife, biting her neck and turning into a zombie. Then, the two of them sit together in the bathtub, watching the sunlight. At the same time, the millionaire couple finishes their game on the golf course, and Pat is about to complete his task. But when the club owner and Michelle return to the office, there's no one inside. A panicked employee rushes out the door, followed by the other infected. The couple's dog is also infected with the virus. It attacks the woman and bites her on the neck. Michelle runs to help, but the poison takes effect instantly. The woman turns into a zombie, and her husband and Michelle run into the office and lock the door. But the old man becomes infected because he was bitten by the dog before entering the office. Michelle grabs a knife and is forced to kill him. Elsewhere in the city, Dan sets out to respond to a call from a woman. The woman had said that her neighbors were making noise. When Dan arrives at the house, he peeks through the crack in the door and sees two zombies inside, ravenous for flesh. But the elderly woman who called Dan had also put dirty water in her tea. She soon transforms and starts chasing after Dan. Dan throws his bat but misses, then runs to his car and locks the doors. He tries to call for help but gets no response on the radio. So he calls his daughter Pat. Pat has already realized the danger. Since everyone at her workplace has turned into zombies, she has locked herself in the storage room. Dan runs to his truck parked in the park to save his daughter. He has weapons inside. Meanwhile, Andre is taking care of his little sister. Their mother comes home but leaves Anna with him again and tells him to prepare her bottle. Fortunately, Andre uses water from the bottle in the fridge instead of the tap. That way, Anna is not affected by the contaminated water. The woman finishes her workout and drinks cabbage juice, then goes to rest. When Andre comes into the kitchen, he finds her unconscious on the couch and notices that her drink has spilled onto the floor. Then, she turns into a zombie and attacks her son. Andre runs outside in a panic but falls on the way. Just as his mother is about to pounce on him, Dan hits the woman with his truck as he passes by. The woman is thrown aside but doesn't die. Andre asks what happened. Dan just says, "Stay inside, lock the doors, others are infected too," and drives away. Andre drags his mother back home and hides her in the garage. Andre quickly locks all the doors in the house and calls emergency services. But an automated message announces that the entire island is under quarantine. His mother crawls toward Anna's crib. The little girl is crying. Fortunately, the mother's legs are broken. She can't walk. Andre locks her in the bathroom and calms his sister down. Meanwhile, Dan finally gets in touch with his daughter Pat. Pat has locked herself in the golf cart garage to escape the zombies. Meanwhile, Andre stops a zombie trying to break into the house with a golf club in his hand. When he looks out the window, he sees the crowd on the bridge trying to cross over to the island. Fortunately, the police have closed the bridge. A few seconds later, a jet fires 2 missiles at the bridge. The explosion destroys the zombies and blocks the passage. However, the tremor causes a power outage in the city. By morning, Andre has covered the doors and windows with cloth to avoid attracting the attention of the infected. The phone's battery is dead and Anna is hungry. While Andre goes to the kitchen to prepare a bottle for her, he wants to check on his mother. He offers the woman some cabbage, and without realizing it, Anna comes over to them as well. Anna calls out, "Mom!" When the woman hears the voice, she attacks, but the bathroom window stops her. Andre lures his mother into the living room with the cabbage. The woman bumps into the leg of the table, the television falls on her head, and she dies. Andre is saddened, but he carries her to the bathroom and closes the door. Then, using a ladder, he checks outside. He sees 3 zombies watching the sunlight. He realizes he has to leave the house now. Andre opens the front door to get out safely and uses the house cat as bait. While the zombies chase after the cat, Andre and Anna slip away unnoticed. After getting outside, Andre quickly runs to the supermarket, but the doors are locked. He goes around to the back, but that entrance is closed too. Suddenly, he finds himself surrounded by hungry zombies. Just as they're about to attack, a hand pulls him inside. Andre is saved by Dan, who has been hiding inside the supermarket. He is shocked to see him. This is the man who ran over his mother. He's angry, but says that he and his sister just want to get out of there. Dan says that all the exits are blocked, and the only thing they can do is survive and wait for help. Andre agrees and starts looking for supplies to prepare milk for his sister. In the vegetable greenhouse, he comes across Dan's daughter, Pat. But the young woman is now infected, and her father is keeping her locked up there. He wants to keep her with him until he finds a way to reverse the infection. Meanwhile, Michelle contacts the Biotech M company at the golf course. The golf course is where the new fertilizer is being tested. The goal is to melt the snow so wealthy clients don't have to interrupt their games, thus maintaining the business's revenue. However, this fertilizer caused an uncontrolled chemical reaction and infected the entire island. Dan listens to the news on the radio at the market. The broadcast is hosted by an announcer named Patrick. Patrick says that the cause of the outbreak is unknown, but precautions need to be taken. Dan sees this as an opportunity, calls him, and says that he is hiding with 2 children and needs help. Patrick says that a rescue operation will only be carried out if the source and cure of the outbreak are found. Otherwise, the army will destroy everyone. Realizing that help won't come, Dan tells Andre that they need to escape the island. However, Andre argues that the solution is to find the source and develop a cure. After thinking for a while, Dan realizes that the outbreak is spreading through the water, so they decide to go to the water treatment plant. In the morning, Dan, Andre, Anna, and Pat, whose head is covered with a cage, leave the supermarket. Outside, the zombies stand motionless, staring at the sun. Together, they get into the truck and head to the water treatment plant. Biotech M sends armed twin agents to the island. The women arrive by sea. As they pass through the city center, they shoot the zombies cold-bloodedly. Soon after, they reach the golf course and find Michelle in the office. Michelle destroys all the evidence on the company's orders. Then she asks the agents if they brought anything to stop the infection. The women hand over the bag. Inside, there are antidotes in sphere-shaped vials. While Michelle thinks everything is fine, the agents grab her, pour manure into her mouth, and drag her away. At the same time, Dan and Andre arrive at the water treatment plant. Fearing that Anna's crying will attract the zombies, they leave her in the car. They take her with them as well, thinking Pat might harm the girl. When they go inside, Pat becomes uneasy, runs to the sewer, and jumps into the dirty water. Dan dives in after her and pulls her out. At that moment, a zombie emerges from the water and approaches, but does not attack. Andre realizes this is thanks to Pat. The infected do not harm each other. However, the zombie changes direction and starts chasing Andre. Andre runs away. 2 more zombies start following him. With great effort, Andre reaches the car and locks himself inside with Anna. At the same time, Pat goes back into the water. While Dan tries to pull her out, he tears off his daughter's arm. Despite this, he takes both her and the arm and returns to the car. He uses Pat's body as a shield to protect himself from the zombies. A phone rings inside the car. Andre finds Pat's phone among her clothes. He uses the severed arm to reach the phone, but he sees green grass coming out of the arm. Dan realizes that the infection is spreading from the grass and the fertilizer on the golf course. Upon this, they head to the golf course. In the office, Dan locks his daughter in the freezer to protect her. Andre also places Anna in a room surrounded by pillows. Then he joins Dan and they start searching for something. After a while, Anna starts crying because she misses her brother. Dan tells Andre to go back. Andre gives the phone to Dan. Dan hands him the shovel. When Andre returns to the room, he realizes that Anna has escaped and starts searching for her in a panic. Meanwhile, Dan finds explosives attached to gas tanks in a dark corridor. Someone has planned to blow up the facility to erase any traces of involvement. Dan tries to stop it, but he has been infected due to contact with Pat. The countdown for the explosives begins. Dan finds the detonator and just before losing consciousness, uses Pat's arm to disable the system. Outside, the twin agents realize the explosion has been aborted and spring into action. When they enter the kitchen, they find Anna and force her to eat fertilizer. Then they escape. A few minutes later, Andre arrives. Unaware of what has happened, he picks up Anna and goes to look for Dan. In the corridor, he encounters the twin agents. One of the women grabs him by the throat, while the other tries to pour fertilizer into his mouth. But since Anna is infected, she bites the woman's finger. As the woman screams in pain, she drops the vial of antidote she was holding. At that moment, Dan, who has just turned into a zombie, appears. He throws one of the twins to the ground and bites her on the neck. Taking advantage of the chaos, Andre grabs Anna and escapes. Thanks to the antidote that has dispersed into the air, Anna gradually returns to normal. Dan kills the twins and goes after Andre. He catches up to him in the kitchen and tries to bite him, but hesitates because Anna is infected. For a brief moment, he looks at the siblings, then turns toward the sunlight. Andre takes advantage of the opportunity, grabs the phone from Dan's pocket, and starts calling for help. After a while, when Andre can't reach anyone, he takes Pat's phone and starts a live broadcast. A television channel picks up the broadcast. Andre explains how the infection spreads and that people are drawn to sunlight and water like plants. He says that he hasn't been infected yet, but his sister has been affected and they need help. The broadcast is watched all over the world in a short time. At the same time, the Minister of Security announces on television that the army will be sent to the area. A few hours later, Andre sees helicopters landing on the island. He locks Dan in the freezer with Pat and goes outside. He asks the soldiers for help with Anna, but he soon realizes that the soldiers have come not to rescue them, but to destroy the evidence. The soldiers shoot and burn everyone without distinguishing who is infected and who is not. Realizing the truth, Andre takes Anna, who has returned to normal thanks to the antidote, and escapes. The same is true for Dan. During his confrontation with the twins, he also received some of the antidote. However, before he can escape, he is caught by the soldiers and, despite saying he is not infected, is shot and killed along with Pat. Hours later, Andre and Anna are still searching for a safe place. They see a boat approaching on the horizon with Camilla and the rescue team on board. They have come to pick them up. After these events, broadcaster Patrick goes on air one last time. He listens to the minister's statement about the quarantine in Quebec. The minister says that the military has the situation completely under control and that everyone will be rescued soon. But this is a lie. The truth is being hidden from the public. The minister finishes his speech and drinks water from a mug with the Biotech M logo on it. This shows that the government is directly involved in the incident and is trying to destroy all the evidence. In the final scene, Andre, Anna, and Camilla are on a boat moving away from the island. Andre throws the infected arm he was carrying into the sea, but a fish eats the arm and soon becomes infected. This suggests that soon all sea creatures will turn into zombies.